The 50-30-20 budgeting rule is broken. If you're following it, you're not building wealth. You're just managing poverty better. And I'm switching to the 15-65-20 rule in 2026. And it's specifically designed for people who want to escape the system, not just survive in it. Let me show you why. Let's start with what everyone's been taught. The 50-30-20 rule says you should spend 50% of your income on needs, 30% on wants, and save 20%. Sounds reasonable, right? It's been the gold standard of personal finance advice for years. Now here's the problem. It was designed for a different economy, a different job market, and frankly, a different life. When your rent or mortgage is eating 35 to 40% of your income before you even buy groceries, that 50% for needs becomes a joke. And don't even get me started on that 30% for wants. Who has that kind of discretionary spending when you're trying to build an escape plan? But here's what really bothers me about the 50-30-20 rule, that 20% savings rate. In 2026, with inflation where it is, with the cost of everything from healthcare to education skyrocketing, 20% isn't building wealth fast enough. It's not aggressive enough if you want actual financial freedom. You're not trying to retire comfortably at 65. You're trying to have options at 35, 45, or 55. You're trying to build something that gives you leverage. The 50-30-20 rule keeps you in the game. It doesn't help you win it. So I started asking myself, what would a budget look like if it was designed specifically for building an escape plan? Here's the framework I'm switching to, and it flips the entire script on traditional budgeting. 15% for intentional lifestyle spending, 65% for essentials, and 20% for wealth building in your escape fund. And let me break down why each number matters and how this creates actual momentum toward financial freedom. Notice I didn't call this wants, I called it intentional lifestyle, and the difference matters. This isn't about depriving yourself. This isn't Dave Ramsey's rice and beans until you're 60 years old. This is about being strategic with the things that actually improve your quality of life. 15% is enough to enjoy your life right now without sabotaging your future. It's your coffee budget, your date nights, your hobbies, your weekend trips. It's the stuff that makes the grind worth it. But here's the key. It's intentional. Every dollar in this category has to justify itself. I'm not spending 15% on random Amazon purchases I don't remember ordering. I'm not spending it on subscriptions I forgot I had. This is curated spending on things that genuinely add value to my life right now. And when you cut that traditional 30% wants down to 15%, you're forced to get really clear about what actually matters. And this is where most budget advice fails. It either tells you to live like you're broke or spend like you're rich. The 15% intentional lifestyle category is the middle ground that's actually sustainable. But here's where it gets interesting. 65% for essentials. This is your housing, your utilities, your groceries, your insurance, your transportation, your debt payments. This is everything you absolutely need to keep the lights on and keep moving forward. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That's higher than the 50% in the old rule. Yeah, because we're living in reality here. For most people, especially in high cost of living areas, 50% for needs was never realistic. Your mortgage or rent alone probably takes up 30 to 35% of your take-home pay. Add in a car payment, insurance, groceries, utilities, you're already past 50% before you've paid for anything else. The 65% acknowledges this reality while still creating boundaries. It forces you to look at your essentials and ask, can I optimize any of this? Maybe you can't move to a cheaper apartment this month, but can you refinance that car loan? Can you shop around for insurance? Can you meal prep to cut that grocery bill? This category is about being honest about what you actually need while still finding efficiencies. But here's the thing, this number also creates a ceiling. If your essentials are eating up more than 65% of your income, you've got a math problem, not a budget problem. You need more income, or you need to seriously restructure your lifestyle. And that brings us to the most important number. 20% minimum going straight to wealth building, not a savings account earning 0.5%, not hiding cash under your mattress. I'm talking about investments that compound. Dividend ETFs, index funds, real estate, building a side business. This is your ticket out. Here's why this number is so powerful. At a 20% savings and investment rate, you're building serious wealth. If you're making $60,000 a year, that's $12,000 going into investments annually. Do that consistently while your investments compound at even 8% annually, and you're looking at over $150,000 in 10 years. And keep it going for 20 years, and you're over $500,000. But more importantly, this 20% is your leverage. It's what gives you the ability to say no to a toxic job. It's what lets you take a calculated risk on a business idea. It's what creates actual options in your life instead of just managing the same paycheck to paycheck cycle with slightly better spreadsheets. The old 20% savings rate in the 50-30-20 rule, that's maintenance. This 20% escape fund, that's momentum. Now, let me show you what this looks like in practice. Let's run through a real example with a $5,000 monthly take-home income. And this is roughly what someone making $65,000 to $70,000 annually would take home after taxes. 15% intentional lifestyle comes out to $750 a month. And here's what that looks like. $200 for date nights and entertainment, $150 for coffee and eating out, $200 for hobbies and personal development, and $200 for discretionary fun money. Is $750 a lot for lifestyle spending? Absolutely. But it's also controlled, intentional, and guilt-free because the rest of your financial house is in order. 65% for essentials is $3,250 a month, $1,400 for rent or mortgage, $450 for car payment and insurance, and $500 for groceries, $200 for utilities, and that's electric, water, internet, and phone combined, $150 for gas, $300 for health insurance and medical, and then $250 for minimum debt payments. This is tight, but it's realistic. You're covering everything you need to function while keeping a cap on lifestyle inflation. 20% escape fund is $1,000 a month. $500 goes into dividend ETFs with automatic investment, $300 into a Roth IRA, $200 into high yield savings. This builds your emergency fund until you hit 6 months of expenses, and then you redirect it to investments. That's $12,000 a year going straight into building your freedom. And in 5 years, you've got $60,000 plus compound growth working for you. And in 10 years, you're looking at 6 figures in investable assets. But here's the key question. Making this transition isn't about flipping a switch overnight. It's about strategic adjustments that create the room you need in each category. The step 1, track everything for 30 days. You can't manage what you don't measure. Use an app, use a spreadsheet, use a notebook, I don't care, but track every single dollar for 1 month. You're going to be shocked by how much is going to subscriptions you don't use and purchases you don't remember. Step 2, audit your essentials. Look at that 65% category and get aggressive. Can you refinance everything? Can you switch insurance providers? Can you negotiate your internet bill? I saved $87 a month just by calling my insurance company and asking if there were any discounts I qualified for. That's a little over $1,000 a year, real money. Step 3, cut the unconscious spending. That 15% intentional lifestyle category only works if you eliminate the unconscious spending. Cancel subscriptions you're not using. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Remove the friction from saving and add friction to spending. Step 4, automate the 20%. The escape fund has to be automatic. Set up automatic transfers on payday. The money moves to your investment accounts before you can spend it. This isn't about willpower, it's about systems. Step 5, increase your income. Here's the truth. Sometimes budgeting isn't the answer. If your essentials are over 65% and you've already cut to the bone, you don't have a spending problem. You have an income problem. Side hustle, freelance, learn a skill that pays more. Ask for a raise, switch jobs. The 15-65-20 rule works best when you're also working on the income side of the equation. This isn't just about different percentages, it's about a completely different philosophy. The 50-30-20 rule is designed to help you manage your current situation better. The 15-65-20 rule is designed to help you escape your current situation entirely. The 50-30-20 rule says, be responsible and you'll be fine. The 15-65-20 rule says, be strategic and you'll be free. One is about stability, the other is about leverage. One is about managing the game you're already in, the other is about building enough wealth to play a different game entirely. Let me be straight with you. This is harder than the 50-30-20 rule. Cutting your lifestyle spending from 30% to 15% requires discipline. Keeping essentials at 65% when life keeps getting more expensive requires constant optimization. And maintaining that 20% wealth building rate when unexpected expenses pop up requires serious commitment. But here's what I know. If you want different results, you need a different system. The 50-30-20 rule produces financially stable people who work until they're 65. The 15-65-20 rule produces people who have options, leverage, and the ability to design their lives around what matters instead of just managing what's expected. I'm making this switch in 2026 because I'm tired of playing defense with my money. I'm tired of budgeting just to make it through the month. I'm building an escape plan, and that requires a budget built for offense. The 15-65-20 rule isn't for everyone. And if you're happy with the traditional path to retirement, stick with 50-30-20. But if you want to build real wealth, create options, and have the leverage to make different choices in your life, this framework is designed exactly for that. 15% for living intentionally, 65% for covering essentials, 20% for building your escape. That's the game plan. And if this framework resonates with you, subscribe because I'm documenting the entire implementation. And check out this next video for more tips and strategies. Now, go audit your spending and figure out where you actually stand. The truth might sting, but it's the first step to building something different.